everybody, I'm Hogan, the healthy cheese lady, and this is my husband Dan, who makes cheese in this very kitchen. Welcome to this show. It's going to be very interesting, especially if you like feta cheese. So that's the topic today. We're going to talk about feta cheese that is made out of raw cow's milk from Pedrozo Dairy and Cheese Company in Northern California. And Dan's going to tell us the difference between pasteurized and raw milk.
Pasteurization is a process where the milk is heated rapidly and then cooled again. And what that is intended to do is to kill microorganisms that might cause sickness. Raw milk is made by dairies that have very, very good processes. They are specifically licensed in whichever state. And then they take that milk, and you can, in some states you can buy the milk, but raw milk cheese has much more flavor to it. It has a much more original taste to the original milk, whereas pasteurized does modify and in some cases make the milk not quite so good. In the U.S., federal regulations require that raw milk cheeses must be aged at least 60 days. And so that's what Tim is doing with this feta, is that he's making the feta, but then he's putting it on brine and he's aging it for 60 or more days in order to be compliant with the regulation.
Okay, so when Tim Pedrozo asked me to set up this video for us to taste this feta, I thought, well, you know, I've had a lot of fetas. How different could it be? Well, guess what? It's a lot different, because most fetas that you buy in the store are usually packed in a kind of a large brick style or a block style, and it's got brine that keeps it fresh and everything, but it tastes a lot different. So these are the typical tasting notes that I've seen in books, and Dan and I've talked about it. So these are the things you can look for in a feta.
As you can see, this cheese is crumbly.
Still moist though.
Still has moisture to it. Mm-hmm. It has it's less intensely salty than a lot of the large production fetas that I've tasted, which is really nice because I can taste more of the cheese, the milk, the thing that we're here to really have, instead of sticking a block of salt in our mouth. Yeah. This has a wonderful milky flavor. I can taste a little bit of the pasture. This is my favorite feta. This is great.
That's good. Delicious. So I asked him about the water content, and typically feta is about 50% water, but his is actually a little bit more, so it's going to be less salty than your normal store-bought cheese. He says that he does not add salt to this cheese, and it's just stored in brine to preserve it. So that's an interesting thing. I'm not sure exactly if he knows what the content of salt is, but it's definitely less than you would normally expect in a feta. I've had a lot of feta cheeses and they are very salty. So Dan's going to tell us about the original feta from Greece.
So feta originates in the Mediterranean. Typically we consider it to be in Greece. Usually it's sheep, or 70% sheep and 30% goat milk. Tim's cheese is made from the milk from his cows that they have on the farm that they milk. This particular one he made in the summer, and so it's been aged even more than the 60 days. It's been aged about 4.5 months.
Look at the color.
And it has that wonderful straw color that comes from the beta-carotene from the green grass. Now, a cheese that you haven't added coloring to, if it's made in the winter, typically the grass is browner. You don't have the beta-carotene, so the cheese will be a little bit whiter.
Tim said that this is what he calls one of his summer cheeses, and Dan just mentioned summer. And there's a lot of difference between the color in the summer cheese and the fall cheese. And he mentioned the beta-carotene. I want to talk about one really important point here, and that is the CLA content of this cheese. So what about people that are diabetic, or what we call pre-diabetic? Well, I'm telling you right now, if you have If your doctor told you you're already pre-diabetic, that's really the first stage of type 2 diabetes. And now's the time to make some changes, and that would be eat more fat, full fat cheese, full fat yogurt, full fat dairy, full fat meat, instead of, the low fat or skim milk. Please, skim milk. And for that matter, people that are trying to lose a little weight, one of the things that a lot of people say when they are on a diet is they get hungry a lot. So guess what about the full fat cheese? There's a hormone called leptin that is triggered, and if you eat a potato chip or a bag of potato chips, it's not going to be the same. You're not going to get that fullness. So that's another real big benefit.
If you want to know how to order this cheese or any of the other cheeses that Tim Pedrozo and his dairy produces, go to realfarmsteadcheese.com. They have several cheeses on order. One of my favorites is Black Butte Reserve.
Delicious.
It's a lovely cheese.
Yes.
Wonderful.